Welcome to viewers of Parimala television channel. Today we have Dr. Ramakrishna Narayanaswami for a discussion on Vedas. Uh, Dr. Ramakrishna Narayanaswami, welcome to the discussion. On behalf of our viewers, I have a lot of questions. So probably you are the correct person to clarify these questions.
I am very happy to be here and I'll try to do my best to respond to your questions.
Yeah. Before we start, I just want to give a brief introduction to Dr. Ramakrishna Narayan Swami. He was born in Kerala, graduated as engineer from the Trivandrum Engineering College. Then he went to IIT Madras. Then he worked as professor in the Trivandrum Engineering College. From there, he went to Texas for a PhD degree. After the PhD degree, he moved to NASA to do a postgraduate PhD degree. So there he spent about 5 years in research as well as great contribution to the NASA activities. Then after that time, he started his own software company which produced software for structural analysis, which was used in the aerospace and construction engineering. This is the brief introduction of Dr. Ramakrishna Narayan Swami. So with this, we will start this question and answer session. Yeah, I will be probably asking a very fundamental questions, so that our viewers will be very benefited in understanding the insights of Vedas. So my first question is, what is the meaning of Vedas, Doctor?
The word, the word Veda has come from the root vid. Vid means in Sanskrit to know. Vidwan comes from the one who knows. So vid is the root. From the Veda has come. Vid means to know anything and everything that we don't know if we want to know. That is knowledge. So Veda is considered as coming from the word vid is knowledge. All the knowledge that one requires is in Vedas. And Vedas are the pramanas of Sanatana Dharma, and it is almost everlasting in that sense, we can say, but we have to still date it and all that. But in short, I will have to answer saying that all we have to know, with to know, is in Vedas.
Good. The next question. You have spent a long tenure in the technical and engineering area. When did you come across this Vedas?
I was initiated Diksha, the Upanayinam, at the age of, on the 11th year. So when I was studying for the second form, 6th grade in school. And my father had the Shiva Puja in our home, which Shiva Puja was handed over down to him from at least 4 generations, where my grandfather's grandfather, who entered into sannyas, he had done all the puja also. That puja was handed over to him. And at the time, immediately after my Upanayinam, my father was transferred from our native town, Tripunithura, to Trivandrum. Okay. So, as the eldest son, he taught me to do the Shiva Puja. As soon as my Upanayinam, in the first 1 week, I learned the Sandhyavadana mantras, and then immediately he taught me, because there was nobody else to do the Shiva Puja. Shiva Puja has to be, once you have a Shiva Puja in your home, you have to do the puja every day. Okay. So if there is no person, a male person who have been taken Diksha and who have been trained on Shiva Puja is not there, then the Shiva Puja will not be able to be performed. So when father was transferred, so immediately from 7th grade onwards, I learned to do the Shiva Puja from my father. Then later on, I learned additional mantras from various acharya. Kochi Srinivasa Iyer is one such acharya from I learned. And I from 7th grade until I went to Trivandrum Engineering College to do the undergraduate, I was staying from home, so almost every day. But after 2 years, my younger brother was given the Upanayinam, so we used to alternate in doing the puja. When father is here, he will do so. Sometimes 2 or 3 days in the week, sometimes 7 days I did. So 7 years I did. Then when I went to engineering college and then later on, whenever I visit my home in Tripunithura, then I will do the puja. Then when I went to United States, then I did not have any idols in the puja, but I was chanting the mantras every day. Get up early and finish the chanting of the mantras, and then only I will start doing anything else. All this is basically, if I say, my uncles were also Shastrigal and learned the Vedas. And I remember from 3rd or 4th grade onwards, he used to tell me, Vedas is Nityam. What you go to school to study to become engineer, doctor, that doesn't count. Whatever you do, that is secondary. Vedas are Nityam. So you have to do the Veda. If you do not do your Sadhyavandanam and other things, and you become a great professional or a doctor, engineer, lawyer, many people may respect you, but as your uncle, I cannot look at this as a great achievement. Nityam, what is Nityam is Veda. You have to, and other than in the 4 years of engineering school in the hostel time, when I did not do the regular Sandhyavandanam, I can now honestly tell you that except for a 4 or 6 year time in the hostel when 6:30 the engineering classes will start, so late night in the hostel and this, so I did not do any Sandhyavandanam, but in the evening I used to go to temples nearby. But other than 6 years, I can honestly tell you that from the age of 11 until today I have done the Sandhyavandanam, and many of the Veda mantras, about 6 or 8 years in between I would have missed, but otherwise that I consider still as my foundation and ayatanam. Then I had a very clear clarity in all my day's activities. So to me personally, it is a very important. While I am known for my professional accomplishment in the United States as a scientist, starting as engineering software company, not the IT software. Engineering software is a little more harder.
Yeah, it is a very high-end.
Little bit more high-end software. You deal with HAL, NAL, ISRO, space, and the automotive companies, Ford, GM, and Toyota, they were my customers for my product, and competing with another IP product, that was very challenging. And all those times, my comfort and solace came from that. I'm not exaggerating. Then where will I find the money to pay the employee's salary? Suddenly the money will come from some customer. That is the personal level of experience I have in this. So I invite all your readers to start the day with chanting some Veda mantras, learning Veda mantras, do your prayers, and then do your daily things. Then they will make a path clear to you. That is my personal experience. So you can have your professional, as my uncle said, if you do this and have a professional achievement, then that has value. But if you have only professional achievement, my uncle has told me it has no value from my 4th grade onwards. So I took it literally.
Yeah, what it means is this chanting Veda mantras, reading these Vedas has given you an edge over others in your profession also.
That gave me, whether it is edge in a sense or it was the divine presence or showing the path. You know, everyone, we do what we think, whatever shown. So there is something that tell you, you go this way.
This way.
That type of feeling, I attribute it to that divine grace.
It gives you the correct direction.
That is what it says. And sometimes, no, that is not, I may not have taken that path and I may have faced all things, or accidentally I have come and all that. But I think there is that divine grace is there. If you start the day with your whatever time you can accommodate, that is fine. But that is my my experience that I want to share with the readers.
Okay. Yeah, probably we will understand the difference between the Veda, Vedanta and Puranas. Many are confused. What are these three different items? Are they same? So can you just clarify the differences between these three?
Vedas are the source for almost every other scripture in our Sanatana Dharma. And if we say Vedas are the Pramanas, Pramanam means they are the authority. If in any other scripture or two scriptures, you cited Vedanta, Purana, then there are Yoga, these are all grown as then we have different philosophical darshanas, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, every one of them and all that, and there is different argumentation comes. If we want to resolve any such, then Shruti says so. Vedas are the Pramanas. So for Sanatana Dharma, Veda is the authority or Pramana. And Vedas are also incidentally considered as the oldest books of wisdom among all religions. Because as you know, Christianity came much later. It is only a date of Christ is, we are in the 2017 year now, 2000 years. Then Islam, little bit later, AD 600, Prophet Muhammad came. Of course, the Judaism is, they trace to bit more earlier time, 2000 BC or so, so it's still 4000. Whereas our Vedas are considered to be, our consideration is it is tens of thousands of years earlier. Even the most conservative Western scholars who are very, very reluctant to concede such antiquity time frame to Vedas origin have considered that Vedas are at least 3000 BC, which means at least 5000 years old, earlier than even the Judaism. So if you put all the Semitic religions together, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they are all of much later origins. Vedas are considered as the oldest book of wisdom among all religions, so we can rest assured. And now coming back to your question, so Vedas means Veda mantras, and it is a proper way for chanting, and the way that it has come down, and it has its meanings. Many people may or may not be able to understand the meaning. So many of these Vedic concepts and Vedic culture and Vedic ideas, to communicate to the common person, the Puranas came.
Okay.
And so this Veda-vyasa and Vedanta, the Veda time period, if you want to say, from tens of thousands years ago. So we have to ask another question: how did Veda from 10,000 years ago, how it has come? This passage. So the earliest time, the Veda mantras came by the rishis. Rishis in their superconscious state, they meditated, and their rishis are also known as mantra drashta. Drashta means see. They can see the mantras from Paramavyaman, or they heard. They can see and heard the Shruti. It is vibrating from there. And in their superconscious state, it will come out of their mouth. But it is not created by them. Whatever they say, they are, and their disciples will note it down. And there was even an example very recently where Vasishtha Ganapati Muni, Devavrata, who is a great scholar in the northern Karnataka area who lived in this century. They are both tapasvis, and they both were together, decided to meditate together. And 15 days later, deep meditation, Vasishtha Ganamani is saying that words are coming out of Devavrata. And he tried to narrate it down. And he himself is a scholar of Rigveda. And he saw similarities to what came out of Devavrata's mouth as Veda mantras. So even now it is possible if you rise to that level of purity and meditation and superconscious level. So that came, and then around 2000 BC or 3000 BC time, that golden age of Vedas, of the Rishis teaching to their disciples, that ended, because there were not that many others to follow that path, no disciples and all that. So there is technically that age ended. Then the beginning of the Saraswati civilization, Saraswati river in that time, then people settled down and all that. As it was coming down, then we know there are Mimamsaka and the Veda religion was practiced, many of those, because Vedas talks about deep knowledge, but also external aspects of doing yajna. So some people started emphasizing only the external yajna and missed out on the deeper philosophical ideas that are built, because there are so many levels of Veda mantra meaning, the gross meaning, the yajna purposes meaning, and the deeper meaning. So when the emphasis became only on the yajnas and the ritualistic mode, so some rishis thought, oh, the many of the Vedic knowledge, the philosophical truths, the spiritual internal meanings, other meanings are not coming out. So they started as Upanishad, their experiences collected together. That is why it is called Vedanta. But it is really nothing more than the truths enshrined in Veda, adapted to a later age. So the Vedanta is a much later time, that is called Veda-anta. So it is dated anywhere from 2500 years ago to 1500 years ago, and there are some later Upanishads even closer to 200 AD and all that. So there are so many Upanishads. Many of the Upanishads came much later, and the Puranas also, to summarize the various truths in Veda, the Puranas came. So various activities came, all others later development, but Veda is the original source.
Original source, okay.
For everything. And Vedanta is the philosophical part of it, but they have also expanded in a language understandable to a later time. Whereas Vedas, mantras came from the rishis at a much earlier time, and some of them have the deeper meanings and people are not able to fully understand the internal thing. So many people pay more attention to Vedanta, that is easy to understand in that way, and they sometimes neglect Veda, which is not a correct approach. We must still go back to Veda, because that is the source for the Vedanta, Puranas, yoga, everything has come out of Vedas.
Okay. Yeah, probably we will try to understand the four fundamental aspects of these Vedas. Veda mantra, Devas, and then Rishis and Chandas. Can you throw some light on these four fundamental building blocks of Vedas?
The Veda is the Veda mantras, and the Veda mantras, according to our belief and how it is handed down from our rishis, is that these mantras remain in Parame Vyoman. Parame Vyoman is a terminology that repeatedly appears in Veda, in Rigveda. Parame Vyoman is one way to translate is the supreme ether. Supreme ether, the Akasha, the void, what it is. In the Veda mantras also, in Rigveda, Mandala 1, Suktas 16 through 22, Shad Vaishnava, that are 6 Suktas for Vaishnava. There it says, Prithivya Saptadama Bihi. This world, the Loka, is divided into 7, Sapta, 7 Dama Bihi, 7 regions. A region not in a geographical location, but each an arbitrary imaginary division between them, and it is called, which we do in our pranayama mantras, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. 7. Some people say 7 lokas, and there are also 7 lokas behind. And the concept in Puranas we would have read, Irelu Lokam, 7 above, 7 below. Below are the in darkness and tamas, so it is generally assumed to be, some people use the word, in the Semitic religion uses the word hell, but in Sanatana Dharma and Veda they did not talk about hell. It only says it is darkness and tamas, so living there will be very difficult, and it will be dominated by asuras and not sattvic people, so you may be hurting and all that. That is why even say if you do not do punya, you may end up in the nether world 7. But let us talk about the other 7 worlds. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Bhurbuva Swa that we say. Bhuhu is our earth. Bhuvaha is the antariksham or the intermediate space. Suvaha is what we say Akasha or the heaven. Bhurbuva Swa. And these 7, associated with this, there are consciousness levels. So technically what they are saying is these 7 Saptadama Vihi, there is a imaginary geometrical division, but along, you cannot buy a ticket and travel there. Only thing is by improving into your truthfulness and raising your consciousness level, which the Devas and the Rishis will help you by chanting the Veda mantras. I will come back to that. Your question includes that also. I am just defining the organization as Rishis have said. Bhuhu Bhuva Soha is the Annamayam, Pranamayam and Manomaya, where the consciousness level is mostly gross level. We are more concentrated about our body at the Bhu. In the Pranamaya is that gives the intermediate space, and the Manomayam is this. But these 3 are considered to have both truth and falsity. So some of us get attracted to false directions or temptations. We are human beings. So because life here is combined of all this. But when we cross these 3 and into Maharloka, that it comes, all falsity will disappear, and then go from there to Janaha, Tapaha, then you get to Satyam and truth, existence and Jnanam, knowledge. So the last 3 is the Satchidananda, this thing, and Maha is the intermediate space. So the Maharloka is where Devas, the Veda mantras or the Paramevyoman is over there, and these Rishis have got the Veda mantras. So a person becomes a Rishi when he is in his superconscious state, is able to obtain, see in the mantra and translate it. So that mantra is credited to that Rishi. For example, Vishwamitra, the Gayatri mantra is revealed to him. Om Bhurbuvasu, Om Tatsavidurvare Enyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. So this Gayatri mantra has 3 pada, 3 parts. Tat Saviduhu Varenyam, Tat Saviduhu Varenyam, O Savita Varenyam, you are adorable, you are to be respected. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, by propel me to give me your splendor, invoke the splendor in me, so let me be able to meditate. Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, help me in that one. So these 3 padas, and if you count the number of letters, so these 3 padas, each pada about 8 letters each, that is called the Gayatri meter, Chandas. Similarly, Gayatri, Ushnik, so Gayatri has 24, Ushnik 28 characters, Anushtup, Gayatri, Ushnik, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagatya, Chandagam. See, there are Chandasas, so meters. So depending upon that, there may be a Veda mantra that has 24 letters, whereas the Gayatri mantra is one short, so sometimes they say Nichit Gayatri Chandaha. So that is the Chandas meter. Something will be Anushtup Chandaha, then Trishtup, different meters on which the Veda mantras coming, So depending upon the characters and the syllables in a complete Veda mantra, that will be in a particular chandas. So the rishi to which this mantra has been revealed, so let's take in the case of the Gayatri mantra, this Gayatri mantra was revealed to Rishi Vishwamitra, and it is in the meter, Gayatri meter, and the Devata, the god, associated god of the Gayatri mantra is the Savita, sun Savita, sun in the Savita form. So tat savituhu vare enyam bargo devasya divihi dhiyo yona prachodayat. This is the Gayatri mantra, 24 characters. The Om Bhurбhuva Swaha was added later. Everything Bhuhu Bhuva Swaha, we live in this, the three consciousness levels here. Similarly, so many Gayatri, Ushnige, Anushtup. Some of them are Anushtup chandas, like for example many Bhagavad Gita mantras, 32 characters, like for example Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnav, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaevate Ragandavyam, Brahmakarma Samadhina. This is a prayer. Brahmarpanam, everything I offer to Brahma. Brahmahavi, Brahma is the food. Brahmagnav, Brahma is the Agni that helps us digest. So that is this mantra that we chant before we take our food. This mantra, this appears in this Bhagavad Gita. So that is in the Anushtup chandas. There are various chandas. Trishtup, Anushtup, Jagadi, Pankti, different mantras have all over the Veda mantras, and different rishis have received that. So when we chant a mantra, for example, the Gayatri mantra, when we chant, the power of Vishwamitra will also come to you. So not only the power of the mantra, mantra itself is a manana trayate iti mantraha. By, you see, like we are all people, familiar example for people is, they get sick, they go to a doctor, give a pill, you take that pill. It is, that is the way the disease is cured. That is what people think. That is one form. There are other forms. Your mind can, the body itself is decided to heal your thing. If you give it the rest and the appropriate surroundings to get the healing. That is what our Ayurveda, it's part of Veda, that tells us. But the point I wanted to say is, this mantra, manana trayate, trayate means protection. By your chanting, and if you understand, you chant it with the meaning fully understood, and invoking the Rishi, and invoking the Devata, you ask the 4 parts, all together if you chant this mantra, then the Rishi is there to, comes into your body, the Devata comes into your body, the Chandas is in tune with the surroundings for this mantra, and the mantra power of this together. So you very correctly and appropriately asked, what is the mantra, Rishi, Chandas, Devata? All these 4 work together. It is not just simply chanting a mantra and going. So if you understand all this, and especially with the Sakshi publications, we can come later about it. They explain everything in this manner. So by reading these publications and following, it will become very easy. Some of us were very fortunate to meet scholars and learn it earlier in life. But now with coming all this in prints from these Sakshi books, they can understand. So all these 4 together, trayate, manana trayate, trayate, it gives you a protection, a shield, and a help of these rishis and all that. And not only it will protect you from diseases, but it will show you the right marga in many, many sense. It will intuitively come to you. They are not going to come and say, you do this or you do that. But that is your inner thoughts will go in that direction. So that is, all these 4 together is, when you chant, if you pay, oh Vishwamitra, you have sacrificed so much and brought this mantra for us. Come and reside with me. I am making you come here. And you, the chandas, the Gayatri chandas, this mantra chanting is in tune with the surrounding environment, the meter, and the Devata is Savita, all of them will help. So every mantra in the Rig Veda has a Rishi, a Chandas, and a Devata.
Good. Going to the next question. You spoke about the Parame Vyoman. That is where these mantras and devatas reside. I am asking from the engineering perspective. So it is basically the information stored there. Probably what is the mechanism of this storage from the engineering perspective?
Yes, yeah, that's a very good question, because when we are trying to explain to the other people, they can all relate to something. So in one sense, the question you are asking and the question which many of these youngsters want to ask us is that because we deal in the Annamaya level, at the Prithvi level, Bhu level, once we try to raise ourselves and go into deeper and deeper, raise in our consciousness level, that will happen once you start going deeper and deeper into all that. But since everybody, you see, we used to say, show me. Unless you show me, I cannot trust you, believe it. In fact, science is also telling us. But what we are saying to Veda mantras, science is a subset. Show me is a subset. You can visualize. God has given power to visualize. If you visualize it deeper and deeper, you can go much, much deeper things. And the rishis have found all those things. In fact, long time back, when they did not have any of the telescopes, they marked all these motion of these stars. They predicted the solar eclipse, lunar eclipse for years and years together. Aryabhatta, the theorems that they have put together, none of the telescopes were available to them. So internally, you can raise your level and you can see everything and all that. So to answer the question, Parame Vyoman, of course, I am going to give an analogy of the cloud. Everyone knows the cloud computing. So where is your data? It is in the cloud. Hey, where is in the cloud? It is there. There what they say is some company has created a server that is accessible from wherever. So they have given it as a cloud name. But in the Parame Vyoman, if this space is demarcated, not in a geographical boundary sense, but in a imaginary line separating the consciousness levels, the Parame Vyoman is anything beyond the Bhuhu, Bhuha, Suvaha. Because here it is truth mixed with falsity. In the Veda mantras and Devas and Rishis, where they reside, they are completely truths. They live in truth, they speak truth, they want to help humanity to lead their life in a truthful and harmonious way, because these are all synonymous together. Harmony, everyone wants harmony, but when we say truth is part or a key requirement for you to lead a harmonious life, then it is difficult to say, because we know knowingly, we cut the corners, we sometimes know that is the truth, right answer for him, but I didn't give him the right answer. We know that. But that is only causing additional problems to us later. And as they say, the cliche, what they say, truth hurts, but truth sets you free. But we are all human beings. Some truth is a truthful statement. If it is embarrassing to me or to my family, I'm not going to say that. Why volunteer the truth and face the embarrassment? That is what we have been taught from childhood. And from my peers, we learned all these things. Not that our parents told this. We learn all this from looking at how the world is moving, and we do that. But we want harmony. Truth is, they all go together. So, in the same manner, Bhuhu Bhuva, because the truth, the falsity, and that is the Shadribhus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, these, what they call, Ribhu, enemies of human person. But we all have Kamam, we all have Krodham. For anything, and if things do not happen the way we anticipate, suddenly we snap. whether our spouse is nearby or children are nearby. Sometimes even if your father is nearby, you are ready to snap. Because we are, that is, all the human beings, but rishis and devas are here to protect us from, because these inimical interests also have their own people. Vritra Vala, the Rig Veda says, they are controlling all these things, sending them, don't go that path, you come our path. So, the Indra fights Vritra, Vala, and all that is all in the Rig Veda, it is written. So, the Paramavya, your question is the Paramavya. So, while they know the cloud computing, and just like they need a password to get their data, the rishis in their super conscious state, they can see that. In other words, you can say they have that password. But I still have not answered your question. Is there a big computer there where it is stored? No. It is there. Here I have to bring in another analogy. In a radio station, there is a receiving station. The radio waves are being broadcast from somewhere, and if you have a radio that can receive that particular frequency, then you are able to get it. But the broadcasting is done by somebody else. So imagine that our Parabrahman, whether it is your Sriman Narayanan or Shiva or Brahma or all of them together or Dattatreya, let us not say who is that Parabrahman. There is a supreme being. Tadu Egam, that one, that one. Rigveda always says Tadu Egam, that one, Tad Egam, that one. It will not say. It has, and also in the Upanishad, Vedanta it says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahma. Everything here is Brahman. So that it is difficult to visualize a single individual, whatever is the concept of Brahman with all these things. So you can imagine separate things, everything is Brahman. Such a Brahman's breathings contain the Veda mantras. So, analogous to the broadcasting, somebody broadcasts and a radio receiver that can receive that particular frequency, so we hear the sound because the radio is set up to do that. In the same manner, the Veda mantras are always there, and we say that Parame Vyoman, in that supreme ether, the breathings of that supreme has these Veda mantras. And these rishis, you can say, analogously say, they have the password because they are in their super conscious state. They can directly see what is happening there, and that comes out of their mouth, and their disciples transcribe. So this concept of Veda mantras are always there. I can give that a cloud computing people make, but the cloud computing also thinks there is a server. But if they ask the server, we have to say that they is from the Parabrahman's breathings, and it is always there. Even the example of this Deva Vrata, Vasita, Gunavadimini and Deva Vrata in the meditation stage, when from Deva Vrata's lips moving, and he noted down, and because he himself is a scholar of Rigveda, he knew it is in the pattern of Rigveda mantras, but he could not decipher out everything. So he didn't pick up any mantras. So similarly, there are few others also have recorded such. So it is always there. If we can rise to the level of a rishi, we can still get Veda mantras even today.
If we can tune to that frequency.
Tune to that level of super conscious, that purity we have to get first. Because everything is Satyam. Without Satyam, Satyameva Jayate, Satyam Vada, so many passages we hear. But we are human beings, we are living in this world, we are in our commercial transactions, we, so many places we make compromises and assumptions. So our goal ought to be, wherever we can minimize such compromises and stay in the Ridhavari, Rhythm Satyam, in that path, then our chances of rising in consciousness levels are greater, and we can touch upon the Parame Vyoman. That is the supreme ether that Rigveda refers to.
Yeah, going to the next question. It is a very fundamental question. all the Veda mantras are in Sanskrit. So which came first, Sanskrit or the Veda mantras, or they came simultaneously?
The Sanskrit have to have existed even prior to Veda mantras, because it is also, the script is known as Devanagari, Samyak Kritam Samskritam. The language is so thoroughly and completely well done. So there is a divine hand. So in that sense, connecting it which came along with Veda mantra is also correct. But the general without more substantial confirmatory research, we will not be able to say. Sanskrit existed, Devas existed, it is their Devanagari, in their script is in their style also, and Rishis and Veda mantras came in that level. So Sanskritam existed and the Rishis were able to, the Veda mantras in the script were able to take it out. That is one way to answer that question. But we need to await further the modern facilities. They will do more research and confirm that answer your question.
Probably it will be a topic for research.
Research. Definitely, many topics are being done in research now on Veda.
Yeah, next moving on to the present day. They say we are living in the third industrial revolution, the internet age or the digital age. So what is the significance of Vedas for this third industrial revolution age?
This is a very excellent question, because as we have been saying, all of us, starting with me or my son, when they are bringing up their children, which is my grandchildren, while we all think grandfather has lot of influence and all that, but having grown in United States, we all take everything, hey, I have brought you up, now it is your turn to bring up your children. If you have a question, you ask, then I will answer. So they have to lead, and they have to go along with the trend of the times there and all that. And as many young parents, my sons and daughters' ages, that generation, to whom that we are addressing some of these questions that we want them to learn Veda mantras, it is extremely difficult, even from my own personal experience, to provide and get interest to them. They are not able to see the benefit of the Veda mantras. However, I will answer looking directly at those youngsters, how they have to look at this, because in the Vedic times, in the Vedic culture and the Vedic time, about before Vedic period ended, and the other various Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, and the ritual, and the so-called Vedanta, and then different things followed from that. Before that, we had complete prosperity, and whatever and why? Because the Vedas teach you to follow things in the right manner. The Vedic Dharma, Vedic culture, Satyam, that part, someone who has already trained by cutting ahead the line, I get some advantage. How am I to tell him, hey, you wait your turn, others will come ahead of him. So, with all this confusion in the day-to-day nature, this basic idea of the dharma and the satya in this thing. And because of that, what is happening is that everything, every activity in this world, every living being, every non-living being, every tree that grows, everything are based on three things. It has its own satyam. It has its own satyam, satyam and dharmam, and then it has the expansion to adapt it to the surroundings, and then beauty. The Satchit Ananda in the same manner is available in every activity. Even in a movie, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So there is Satyam, truth, everything is there. So any attempt on our part to not follow this seeing some other advantages for us, ultimately may not end up as the one that we really want. If you go the
seeing some other advantages for us, ultimately may not end up as the one that we really want. If you go the its own satyam is in this, and
that is what the Veda mantras teach. That is what the rishis and the Vedic gods. You see, again, one topic we are running. We have more questions to ask, so I have to quickly respond to that. The Devas, Agni, Indra, Vayu, Soma, Varuna, Mitra, Saraswati, all those Devatas, then Maruts, Ashwins, so many Devas in the Rig Vedic. All of them, if you read the Veda mantras, by inviting them to ourselves, by chanting the Veda mantras, what we are doing is, they will show us the rightful and the truthful path. So, the prerequisite, what is the prerequisite even before we chant Veda is, we have the desire, because everything is Satyam, and Satyam will get you even though early on you don't see any success. We have to learn that. But you and I are all human beings. When I say this, I have also tried to cut corners to take whatever is at that moment seems to be advantageous. Whether it is right or wrong, we have got. That is how in a competitive world we have come up. But as you study and deeper go and all that, so starting in Veda mantras at an early stage, with the blessings of this Deva and all that, our path will always be in the rightful and truthful. That is the Vedic culture and Vedic Dharma, and that is what they get. So they will be able to come out with their full potentialities. So you may ask, in a sense, that same engineer, doctor and lawyer, or the aspiring student who wants to become a movie actor or whatever they want to do, struggling hard and facing competition, if they spend some time and learn the Veda mantras, and especially with the Sakshi works that they are given and very easily explained, so many books have come out from Sakshi, and it is available in so many local languages also, not only in English, but Professor Kashyap and Jahagirdar and the Sakshi team has done an outstanding work. For example, Agni, which is the naming of the gods also have a sense. It is not arbitrarily given. Agni, we all know, is fire, but Agni Devata is Agre Nayati Iti Agnihi. Agni has come Agre, in front. Agni will lead from front. And also the Rig Veda's first mantra, Agnimi Ile Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Prithvijam Hotha Aram Ratnadatamam. Agnim Ile, O Agni, I know your name itself is Agre Naiti, you will lead me from front. If Agni is leading, do you think Agni is going to take a devious path? He will only go through the path because he is truth, truth embodiment, truth and willpower. So he not only take you the right truthful path, he is also he will give you enough willpower to follow that path. Because one of the problems we are not able to say, we take cut corners, is that we are embarrassed. What will happen? We don't know the future. So this, I know this is a sure thing. So I go this way. But Agni, so Agnim Ile, I adore you. Purohitam, you are Pura means in front. You are leading from Purohitam. Yajnasya Devam, you are the person who call other gods to this Yajna. Yajnasya Devam. Ritvijam, you are totally bound with truth. Ritvijam. Hotaram, you will call all other gods. Ratnadadamam, you donate, you give Ratnam, jewels, many facilities to me. So that one mantra, if you chant and you pray for Agni, you try to chant just this one mantra and do a few months and invite Agni. Simply chanting is not enough. Then we can put it in a tape recorder, I do something else and let it play. No, it has to come from you genuinely seeking. That is why, so this engineer, doctor, your question, they will accomplish more or they will accomplish everything in a truthful manner that will benefit not only them, everyone in the surroundings, and it will be a harmoniousness also. So every one of them, while they have gained or accomplished everything without any of the Veda mantras, if they learn the Veda mantras and do it, the levels they would have gone, no one will be able to stop them. Could be much, much higher. But more importantly, the end result will be more happy and harmoniousness for them and for all the people they interact with. That is the reason why everyone must pay attention and start learning Veda, in my opinion.
Irrespective of their profession.
Irrespective of their profession.
Lawyer.
Every one of them. In fact, in the Vedic times, the people who built our great temples, many of them have taken the Vedic lessons. Even the Sthapati, in fact, yesterday Shankar was telling in another discussion I was participating, Shankar was saying that the Sthapatiya told him that the temple architecture, it's all in Vedas. The Sthapatiyas study that. That is why when they built the temple with all that carving, it looks so beautiful to everyone. They are not cutting any corners. They are straight away from the Vedic training with them they are doing. So these are all examples for us even today. So Veda is the same people who have succeeded without any Veda mantras. I don't know how much more they would have succeeded, how much more harmony and happiness they would have derived for themselves and others if they have also been part of Veda. That is one way to look at the need for Veda.
Moving on to the next topic. We have seen Professor R.L. Kashyap, then we have heard of this Pandit, and then Kapali Shastri, and then Aurobindo. Can you just throw some light on the contribution of these people on the Vedas?
The Vedas from tens of thousands of years ago, we must ask how it has come to us. So the Varnashrama Dharma in Sanatana Dharma, the Brahmins were asked to preserve and protect the Vedas. So they learned all this by chanting, by wrote correctly, by forward and backward, so many different ways, krama, gana, pattern, they studied and preserved it. In 14th century, AD 1300, the Sainacharya with a team of 100 Sanskrit scholars, they put together and he gave the word by word meaning for all the Veda mantras. So that's only 700 years ago. So even though Veda mantras are tens of thousands of years ago, the first time meanings in Sanskrit for all the Veda mantras were given by Sainacharya. So Sainacharya has a unique place. However, Sainacharya emphasized only the external aspects because he himself was an external follower. So many of the deep wisdom and symbolism did not come out in the Sainacharya's translations. And the Westerners, Edward Jones, Max Muller, Griffith from USA, all those people who wrote books on this thing, they neither knew symbolism nor they can understand any detailed spiritual meanings, and they followed Saina's meaning and they concluded, oh, these rishis did not know some of the symbolism, they misunderstood or purposely mischaracterized. With the result, what happened was, by the time 20th century, both Indian scholars and Western scholars, everyone dismissed Vedas as useful and say Vedanta, by that time, was talking about some of the spiritual aspects of the Veda. But they have done, Vedanta rishis have only done what is in Veda, but because Veda got this name, that just disappeared. Nobody paid attention to Veda. It was Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo, he's a great yogin and thing, who brought out the spiritual meanings in this one. There are few others, Madhvacharya, Narayanaswami have done small levels, but that didn't get much attention. But Aurobindo persisted and did 5,000-6,000 mantras of the Rig Veda into spiritual meaning. And Kapali Shastri, Aurobindo wrote in English, Kapali Shastri made it in Sanskrit, then only Indian Pandits can see. So they both expanded it a lot. That is a great contribution to bring out the spiritual and the internal meanings of Veda. However, in my opinion, that also would not have reached the common masses unless Professor Kashyap, who is a great intellectual who did excellent work at Institute of Science, then went to Harvard, did a PhD in Harvard, one of the top schools in the world at that time, 1965. And his PhD work is still being taught to electrical engineering people as Chu Kashyap algorithms. Such brilliant is man. And then he was a tenured professor at Purdue for 33 years. And when it is over, and during that time he met this Madhav Pandit, who is part of this Aurobindo school, a disciple of Kapali Shastri. So from Madhav Pandit 73 onwards, in a part-time sense, and 97 after retirement, investing his own savings, started Sakshi, started translating it on the Aurobindo Kapali Shastri line. And then in 2002, Jahagirdar joined him. That enormously relieved Kashyap of doing many other things. Jahangir not only gave a support, understanding discussions and in translation, he also took care of translating many of those things. From 2002 onwards, the progress is with the team of Kashyap Jahagirdar, with Kashyap single-handedly trying to all this. He has translated all the 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and Yajurveda is 2 recensions, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda, every one of them in 26 volumes, with the spiritual meaning, the Sanskritam, the Padas, and the English translation. And then Kashyap and Jahagirdar together didn't stop there, wrote many small booklets, Essentials of Rig Veda, Essentials of Yajurveda. Not only that, they started conducting seminars, lectures, they took it to schools, they have translated it into regional languages, Kannada, Tamil, getting it translated, and I have also in small measure translated them into the Essentials book, the small 4 booklets, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, into Malayalam, because I come from Kerala, I know Malayalam and Sanskrit and the Veda Mantra, so that's a very small step compared to the magnitude. But Sakshi as a team, they are now doing that. So while we can credit Aurobindo and Kapali Shastri for bringing out this, my feeling is, or this thing is, just like Madhvacharya in the 13th century, Raghavendra-swami in the 16th and 17th century, they also did some pointed out the spiritual meaning, but no one picked up on that. And even then, we were all reading these Westerners and the Indiologists, Indian experts following the Western books and writing additional books, and Veda has no knowledge into the Vedanta. In fact, yesterday I was discussing with Professor Kashyap, and I discussed with Jahagirdar also, that there is in Mandala, first Mandala, 170th Sukta, 5 mantras are there, and there Indra says to Agastya, Anyasya Chittam Abhisancharenyam. This Brahman, all the Vedanta Upanishads describe only as not this, not this, not this. What is Brahman? Because Brahman is everything. You cannot describe what is Brahman. But Veda in Mandala 170th Sukta, Indra has speaking to Agastya, Anyasya Chittam Abhisancharenyam. Brahman will reveal only someone who is pure and who is trying to go after him. Anyasya Chittam, you can see him. If you try to go look for him, he will move away. And Aurobindo says, these 4 words is not even one mantra, it's only a part of mantra. These 4 words summarizes the whole Vedanta, the vast, it is the vast commentary on these 4 words, the whole Vedanta. That is what Aurobindo says. And that is what the Sakshi and Professor Kashyap, not only the Rig Veda, Professor Kashyap translated the Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda in 26 volumes, so many smaller booklets and all this. So Sakshi books, everyone has to, the contributions of Kashyap is enormous. We have to give, no single individual can be expected. He has done beyond the calling. He is a rishi, no doubt in my mind. While rishis, some rishis have gotten the mantra, his mission is to spread this, explain to others, and he is there to answer our questions. And I have benefited enormously by association with him for the past 5+ years with Jahagirdar and Kashyap. So I have to say that their contribution will bring this message of the spiritual and the other meanings to vast population, which has already done, and let more and more in the years to come. All the listeners who are listening, please come and become part of the Sakshi movement, and we have to spread this Vedic message, Vedic culture that will benefit each and every one of them and our community. The progress will be enormous, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably the last question of this discussion. When and how did you meet Professor Kashyap?
In fact, after all my chantings that I learned early on, and I was teaching the chanting, and then after my first company was sold in 2000, when I had so much difficulty in this, and both this Veda and the Vedanta has given me lot of, whenever I was in difficult times in the company, this Veda and Veda is what gave me, and the Vedanta gave me solace. So I wanted to teach this to my friends. I started teaching, and I taught the Dashopanishads from 2002 to 2007. In 2008, I still have not gotten an answer. Where is the so-called wisdom? If Veda is just the external rituals only, external meaning only, then it could not have survived all these years. That is where I think, because unless it has some deep value or wisdom, how can that survive for tens of thousands of years? Anything that is not based on truth and it has a message that is not only going to benefit you and the community at large, such a thing will not survive for long. That was my theory. So I was searching and I could not find, but I was carrying on this. Then 2012, another person asked me, who set up a meeting through Jahagirdar. Jaha and that friend, Manohar Shinde, were friends. So they set up a meeting for me to come and meet Professor Kashyap on a different matter. And Jahagirdar arranged the meeting, and I came, met Jahagirdar and Kashyap, and whatever was the function on that meeting, I finished. Then quickly I asked him. So in 2005, I bought a book of Professor Kashyap on Krishna Yajurveda. I could not go past 30 or 40 pages because I did not fully understand it. I ought to have lifted the phone or walked to come to Jayanagar. I am coming to Bangalore 2 or 3 times a year, but it didn't occur to me. Because maybe my time had not come at that time. So in 2012, when this meeting was arranged, after that, then I told Kashyap, I want to ask a question. I bought your book. I don't understand. We spent another 1 hour, and he started pointing out this. That's all what needed. I could immediately connect all this, and all my answers is, where is the wisdom? Then from that time onwards, I have a calmness and a shanti, because when you are searching for something as a question, I didn't get the answer, I am not satisfied, then you are still searching it again and again. 2012 June onwards, I can, everything, all the things that I have done in my life, my independent Vedic knowledge, Vedantic studies, those teaching, I was able to put all these together. This is the source. This is why I was not satisfied until I found this. And that is this Sakshi translations. And in the last 5 years, I have benefited enormously by my association with Sakshi. So I request all people, I can, from my experience, tell you, this is not any public relations or a commercial or a sales lecture. From my personal experience, I can tell you, the day you see, in all this what they say, we only have to invite Agni, then Agni will do the work, rest. So you chant the Agni mantra starting, then Indra mantra or Mitra, Varuna or Barut, Ashwins, whosoever, keep on chanting various mantras, invite them and ensure that you give them a seat, then everything will follow. Analogously, I will say, your job is only to come to Sakshi, touch base with Sakshi, they will do the rest. You will start gradually leading something, become a volunteer and all that, by the Sakshi translation. This is my experience, the last five plus years of association. And even though in one sense I regret that I didn't contact him in 2005 or 6 when I purchased the book, I have compensated for that by much closer association during the past 5 years. and I enormously benefited.
Okay, thanks for your time.
I will make one final statement. I will conclude in all our functions that we do, external functions, at the very end we chant the Chaturveda Parayanam. In any pujas that you do in your home or so, they do the chant. I will do a very short for one mantra from each of the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda and Atharvaveda. Om Agnime ele purohitam yajnasya deva mritvijam hota aram ratnadatamam hari om ishetvorjetva vayavasto vayavasta devo vassavita prarpayadu shreshtatamaya karmana apyayadvamagniya Devabhagamurjaswati payaswati prajapati ranamiva ayakshmamavastena ishatamaga shagunso rudrasya hiti parivo vraktu dhruva asmin gopado syada bhver yajamanasya pashun pahi hari om agna ayahi vidaye gnano havyadadaye nihota satsi barhishi hari om Shanno Devi Rabishtaya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye Shayyo Rabishravantunaha Hari Om. With this, I conclude the current question and answer. I am sure there are more questions or we have to give more answers, and all we hope we will have more opportunities to take smaller questions into go at depth. But in the meantime, learn Vedas, come and participate in Sakshi activities, many seminars they are conducting, become a volunteer by the Sakshi translation books, try to understand by this Veda, your life will change forever. In addition to successes, whatever success you are currently doing, continue all that, but spend some time to this. That will allow you to grow to your full potential, because the Vedic Devatas, once they take you, they will direct you the right, correct, truthful path, and there is no limit to your ability to achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Okay.
In this.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Doctor. We have spent quite a bit of time in answering questions. I am sure the viewers are very much benefited by this question and answer session. And I am also aware that these questions will invoke more questions. So we will continue this discussion. As Doctor was telling, Sakshi is located in Jayanagar, South Bangalore. I request people to visit that place and participate in some way or the other in the activities of Sakshi and learn about Vedas and excel in your profession. It will take you much ahead in your profession. So with this, we are concluding this discussion. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.